Now, these are the major pressure belts and the wind systems of the world. We'll do one by one. The first one is the trade winds. The trade winds, they blow between 5 degree to 30 degree north, 30 degree, 5 degree to 30 degree north and 5 degree to 30 degree south latitudes. They blow from subtropical high pressure belt towards your equatorial low pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt to your equatorial low pressure belt. They blow from eastern directions. They blow from eastern directions, north, south. They blow from eastern direction, and they are very much helpful for the traders. They were very much helpful for the traders in the olden times because the winds helped in sailing the ship. So they are called the trade winds. That is why they help the traders. That is why they are called the trade winds. It is called northeast trade winds in the northern hemisphere since they blow from northeast direction. In the southern hemisphere, since they blow from southeast directions, they are called the southeast trade winds. In the northern hemisphere, they blow at a speed of 16 km per hour because there is more land masses over here. Because of the presence of land masses in the northern hemisphere, it obstructs the direction of the wind. But in southern hemisphere, there are less land masses, more water bodies, so they blow at a speed of 22 to 30 km per hour, meaning the wind speed is more or less constant in the northern hemisphere, but it blows very fast in the southern hemisphere. That is about the trade winds. Next comes the westerlies. In the northern hemisphere, the wind is known by the direction from where they are blowing. So they blow between 35 to 60 degree north. They blow between 35 to 60 degree north in the northern hemisphere and 35 to 60 degrees south in the southern hemisphere. And I've told you, since the wind is known by the direction from where they are blowing, since they are blowing from the southwestern side, so in the northern hemisphere it is called the southwest westerlies. In the northern hemisphere, since they are blowing from the northern side, they are called northwest westerlies. So you have the southwest westerlies, and here you have the northwest westerlies. Please don't forget, in the northern hemisphere you have the southwest westerlies blowing. In the southern hemisphere you have the northwest westerlies blowing. They blow from the western directions. As they blow from the western directions, they are opposite to the trade winds because the trade winds are blowing from the eastern directions. They are blowing from the western directions, so they are also called the anti-trade winds. Anti meaning opposite of the trade winds are also called the westerlies. Okay, so in the northern hemisphere, due to many land masses over here, okay, the wind moves quite slowly, but in the southern hemisphere there are more large number of water bodies. There are less area occupied by the land. So here between 40 degree to 60 degree latitudes, the wind blow with a great strength. The wind blow with a stormy weather, overcast skies. So that wind that blows between 40 degree to 60 degree south latitudes is called the brave west wind. Why it is called brave west wind? The brave west wind is called in the latitudes between 40 to 60 degree latitudes because the wind is blowing uninterruptedly without any obstructions, because there are no land masses. Even if there is land masses, there is only slight obstruction. Otherwise the wind can blow unobstructedly. That is why the latitude between 40 degree to 60 degree is called the brave west wind. Now the individually also they are given at 40 degree latitudes, the wind that is blowing over here is called roaring 40s. That means they make the sound like a roaring sound. They are called roaring 40s. And in your 50-degree latitudes, it is called furious 50s. That means they are making more large amount of sound. Now you can just imagine when the wind is blowing over the sea, they are making a lot of noise. Furious 50s. And at 60-degree latitudes, as if the wind is screaming, that is why it is called screaming 60s. That is about the westerlies. Now the last one is your polar winds. Now the polar winds blows that is found between 70-degree to 80-degree latitude, 70-degree to 80-degree north latitudes, 70-degree to 80-degree south latitudes. They blow between 70 to 80-degree north and south latitudes. They blow from polar high pressure belts towards your subpolar low pressure belt, polar high pressure belt towards your subpolar low pressure belt. Northeast winds in the northern hemisphere, they blow from the northeastern directions in the northern hemisphere, so it is called the northeast polar winds. And in the southern hemisphere, it blows from the subpolar high pressure belt towards the subpolar low pressure belt from the eastern direction, so they are known as southeast polar winds. And in the northern hemisphere again, they blow more slowly, but in southern hemisphere they blow very, very fast. So this is how the pressure belt has a relationship with the wind system of the world. And the wind you see over here always blows from high to low, high to low, high to low, high to low, high to low. You can see the directions where I have marked over here. Now what is the special features of these wind? That is, the special feature of the trade wind is the northeast trade winds and the southwest trade winds, they meet at over here. That means they converge, they meet. This is they meet over here. The northeast and the trade winds from either hemisphere were at the equatorial region. Where will they meet? At the equatorial region. And there is no wind movement over here. Wherever they meet, there is no movement of the wind over here. So this is a region of calm, also called the doldrum, which I have discussed in the previous class also. This region is called the doldrum, a region of calm. And that is why it was very difficult for the sailors to sail their ship, because it was a calm region in the ITCZ zone. ITCZ meaning intertropical convergence zone. Intertropical meaning the tropical winds moving from here, the tropical winds moving from here, they meet over here. So this region is known as ITCZ. It is known as ITCZ. That is importance of this. Now over here in the subtropical high pressure belt and the subtropical high pressure belt, they move from high pressure towards your low pressure. This is a region where you have the cyclones and anticyclones commonly originate. Cyclones and anticyclones. Cyclones, which we will do afterwards. What is cyclone and what is your anticyclone when we do the irregular wind. Now the subpolar region over here, that means you have the warm wind rising, the cold wind descending, and the warm wind rising. So the meeting of the warm and the cold wind represents a front. Front meaning a place where the warm and the cold winds meet. That is a special feature. Now, how is it going to affect the climate? Now, as these winds blow from tropical region towards the equatorial region, the wind becomes more hot. It is already warm over here. As the wind blows over this area, the wind becomes very, very hot. As they blow from the east towards your west, and as they cross the ocean and the seas, they give plenty rainfall in the eastern part of these trade winds zone. But by the time the wind reaches the western part, the wind becomes dry, and that is the reason why most of the deserts are found in the tropical zone on the western part. Like you have the Kalahari Desert in Africa, you have the Thar Desert, you have the Atacama Desert of South America, you have the California Desert. Most of the deserts are located in the tropical belt of the western part. That is because they are offshore winds. Offshore meaning the wind is blowing from land to the sea. Over here, the wind is blowing from sea to the land. That is why the eastern parts get more rainfall. But by the time the wind reaches the western part, the wind remains dry, so they do not give any rainfall. Now, that is about the trade winds. Now the westerlies. Westerlies blow from warm tropical to the cooler polar region. So they have a moderating effect, meaning they try to increase the temperature of the place. Okay. In winter months, the moisture bearing winds bring plenty amount of rainfall on the western part of this continent. And the western part of this continent, they get rainfall during the winter season. Okay. Most part of the example, the Mediterranean coast. Rainfall decreases. Now it was over here the rainfall was more in the trade wind belt, and as they reached towards the western part, there was no rainfall and they created a deserted land over here. But over here, as there is more rainfall, they get rainfall in the winter season, where on the western part, by the time the wind reaches the eastern part of the westerlies belt, they hardly get any rainfall. So that is why most of the grasslands of the world are found in these eastern part of the westerlies belt. Grasslands meaning there is scarcity of rainfall, and they can just give the rainfall enough for the growth of the grasses over here. All right. Rainfall decreases towards the east. Now the polar winds blow from the frozen polar area towards the warmer area, so it makes the area cold and dry. Now due to the influence near the poles like Siberia, that is in Russia, have snowstorms and blizzards in the winter. Since they blow from the cold area, they have a snowstorms and the blizzards. Now what is a blizzard? Blizzard is not the snow falling, but the loose snow of the ground is picked up by the wind, and they make the blizzard to form. That is all about the permanent wind. Thank you.